Hello and welcome to Open Dialogue. I am Noel T. Manning II. Really appreciate you always taking the time to be with us as we talk film, as we talk entertainment, and we get a chance to talk to some of those behind the scenes. Really happy to have an acting talent who's been around for quite a while, and I've been following your work. I think about Safe House. I think about Zoo with Jimmy Wolk, and also got to interview another one of your co-workers from that project not too long ago as well. But really happy to have you. Please introduce yourself and tell us about this new film that we're going to be talking about called The Colony.
Yeah, so my name is Nora Arnezeder, and I play Blake in the movie Colony, The Colony. And it's a science fiction movie about astronauts returning to Earth to see if life can sustain life again. Yeah, we shot this movie 3 years ago. And I'm so happy that the movie is now being released and to share it with the world.
Yeah, and you are pretty phenomenal in this. When I look at this film, I kind of described it as Planet of the Apes meets Waterworld meets Children of Men meets Interstellar. It's got all of these different elements and layers to it, and you were on screen most of the time in this film, and it also went by another title at one point called Tides. Is that correct?
Yes. So there are two titles: The Colony and Tides.
Okay. So how long was this particular shoot?
Oh, it was almost 3 months, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 months. We shot mainly in Germany.
Okay.
Switzerland, and yeah, it was a lot of preparation, physical preparation. Went to the gym a lot. I watched documentaries about astronauts, and it was interesting to see. Yeah, it was really interesting to see what kind of training they receive. They receive like very intense training with the hope to travel, and sometimes they don't,
Right.
But what's interesting is that they have to learn to not fear death. So to me, that was a very interesting piece of a very interesting detail for my character, that no matter what she does, no matter what she encounters, obstacles she encounters, she has to learn how to suppress her emotion and not fear death.
Right. And there are quite a few encounters, not just the crash landing or the landing that causes some injuries to others, but there's also the environment, the environmental factors of what's going on, and then there's the mental landscape that your character has to overcome as well, because your character is on a true mission, but there's also an internal mission for your character as well.
Yeah. She's so she goes back to Earth in order to see if it can sustain life again, because she cannot procreate on planet Kepler because of radiation. So she goes to Earth to see if there's a possibility of procreation, but also with the idea, the very strong objective to find her father, who left on the first mission when she was a little girl. So yes.
Yeah, I loved your acting in this, and there was so much seems it was physically demanding, and it looked to be emotionally demanding as well. Talk a little bit about both of those and how you prepare for those, especially within this film.
Yeah, so
And you talked about the gym, about working out a lot.
Yeah. It's not only, I did other stuff. I didn't only eat hummus and water. But no, I mean, I really work on her emotional arc. And it's interesting for an actor because we actors, we love to express our emotions on screen. Although we don't really decide if we're going to be emotional, emotion just comes, they come to us because of the situation. But it's funny because me as an actress, I'm a very emotional person in real life. So Blake really taught me how to, like not suppress, but like hold back my emotion a little
Okay.
bit. And so, yeah, so what I loved about this character is that she really does have this emotional arc in the beginning. So she was raised very cold, militaristic way of thinking. And when she returns to Earth, goes to Earth for the first time, she realizes that her TSH levels start recovering. So she starts having human feelings. So in the beginning, she starts off kind of robotic, and then she gets her period for the first time, and her emotions. And trust me, we do women have a lot of emotions when we're on our period. So.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, some of the interactions I thought were pretty fascinating, because there were many scenes where there was limited or no dialogue, but you also had dialogue with this unknown language, or this language that your character Blake did not quite understand. Talk about those scenes and maybe some of the challenges from an acting standpoint to take on that.
So the mods have their own language. They're leftover humans who stayed on Earth. And they try to build a life there, and so they build their own weapons. They live in tents, and they have their own way of their own language. And so when Blake's land on Earth, she's a fish out of water, and she discovers the lands, she discovers the muds, and she's gonna have to gain their trust, because they don't trust no one. What was interesting is that Tim really wanted me to discover the lands at the same time as me, Right. So I kind of like discovered it the same way Blake discovered it.
Oh, wow.
Which was really amazing. Yeah.
So that did make it very natural and organic for you.
Yeah, very much. Very much.
Yeah. What do you think was the most difficult part for you in this particular production compared to those you've done previously? You've done work in film, and you've done work in television. Was there anything in this particular project that was different or more challenging or more enlightening for you as an actor?
Noel, everything is challenging. Each time I embody a role, it's always very much like I'm always scared to not be good, Like that's why I really work really hard in order to like be prepared and then forget about all the work that I did. But like everything is a challenge, and that's also why I love this job so much, is because you're being challenged all the time. And it's to me, every project that I'm doing is it's as if it was my first project. It's as if I'm acting for the first time again, all over again. On this particular project, what was challenging was it was very physical.
Yeah.
But the adrenaline made me kind of survive this.
Right.
Also, what I realized is that Blake, her objective is so strong that there's not one day where she doesn't have hope, or where she, I had to be strong to do justice to the character. You know what I mean? Because Blake is a strong woman. And so me, Nora, I had to be strong. I had to, every day I went to war. I was like this, like a soldier, and I like this. I love that.
Well, and this was literally your film. I mean, everything surrounded you and your character, and the things that happened from scene to scene were a direct result of your interactions with either the situations or the characters. Is that something that was you felt that was a bit different from some of your previous projects? Did you feel like you had a weight maybe on your shoulders that you had to show up truly show up every moment.
Yeah. But you know what? What's interesting is that when you're the lead of a movie and you're like in every frame and every scene, you don't have time to think. You just do it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You have so much gaps like between scenes and like too many days off. Then you have time to get in your head and go like, oh my God, did I do this scene right? And my boyfriend, like, he's always like, he gets crazy at me because he's like, I always like when I finish shooting, I always like bring the character with me at home and I have time to overthink stuff sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
On this occasion, I was like, I didn't have time to think.
You didn't have time. Well, anything else you'd like to add about the colony before we talk about a few of the other projects?
No, I just it's a movie that's very dear to my heart. I think this project really elevated me as a human being.
Okay. In what way?
She really taught me how to be stronger.
Okay.
There's a saying. I mean, the Blake's father in the movie tells her from a very young age, everything that you do is for the many. So she learns how to, like, there's this mantra, for the many, for the many. We will not let our emotion guide us. We do this for the many, for the many, for the many. And I think it stayed in me for some reasons. And I really believe it's one of the best movie I've ever done. And I'm very proud of this movie. And
it's beautifully shot. I love the sound design and production design as well. And I've got an interview lined up with Tim to talk about this as well, the director. So I'm excited to get Tim's thoughts on this. Well, you also have another film that was just released this summer, Army of the Dead, that you got a chance to be a part of with Zack Snyder.
So Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder, I loved shooting with him. He's fantastic. Really trust his actors as well. Let them do whatever they need to do, follow their instincts, which is it was very similar to Tim's approach with actors. Right. Zack doesn't talk a lot to his actors before a scene necessarily. He just like lets them do their thing, which is also a great approach as well. I'm very proud to be part of this project as well. And killing zombies. What do we do for a living? Like, if when I was a little kid, if someone told me that you're going to kill zombies, you're going to be an astronaut, you're going to do this, and you're going to be working in a you're going to own the Chateau Marmont in a project based on the Godfather remake, and go like,
yes. Yeah, how many other jobs out there can you be so many different things? And that's the beauty of acting. I mean, look at your TV work as well, most sort of in Jungle and Zoo. Like I said before, you've had a chance to do film and episodic television series. Do you prefer one or the other? And or what do you like about both? I guess is probably maybe a better question.
Yeah, it really depends. It depends. It depends because, I had a lot of fun shooting Mozart in the Jungle with Gael Garcia Bernal. He's a fantastic, one of the best experience that I had with an actor. It was just amazing. I've learned so much on that set. And the character was fantastic. A violin player, crazy girl. With this conductor played by Gael.
Yes.
So I had a lot of fun shooting this one, and then Tides, the Colony is a very different style, but like these projects are kind of like it really elevates my soul,
Yeah. And you did touch on the new project that you're working on that's got these Godfather-esque connections. Talk a little bit about that, or whatever you can about that, and where can we find it?
I don't know if I can talk a lot about it, but like it's basically the making of the Godfather based on Al Ruddy's life. So Al Ruddy produced the Godfather, and it's about how he got to produce this movie and how the mafia tried to stop the making of the movie. And
well, we'll plan to bring you back when it's out there and we can talk more about it. Really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Is there anything else you want to add about your love of this entertainment or film or acting? Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy to be here talking to you about movies and I really do believe people will love watching The Colony. It's really hard because I most of the time I don't really like to look at my own stuff, you know, but when I look at The Colony, I really like put a distance between, you know, myself and the thing and the movie. And I actually really love the movie so much. It's one of the best movie I've ever done. And so I'm so happy that the movie can people can get to see the movie soon. And I hope they'll enjoy it the same way I did.
Yeah. So what was it that made you look at this one differently? When you say you typically don't like to look at your work, what was it that triggered something for you to say, okay, I'm going to look at this and try to separate myself from the person I see on screen?
Well, first, I always have to look at what I do because it's a way to improve myself as an actor. You learn a lot from watching yourself, even though it's not a really pleasant situations most of the time, because we actors are really neurotic and it leaves us with an important message that resonates in especially with the pandemics.
Yes.
And we learn from our past mistakes. And so there's a really strong ecological theme, but it's also a movie about family, about friendship, about how we can all work together and focus on the internal rather than on the external. And I think it's a very positive message and an important one. And the movie is beautifully directed, beautifully shot, and the actors are fantastic. And it's just a great movie.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And it's so good to see you. And I continue to look forward to following more of your work.
Thank you. Have a good day.